Days of Our Lives 16th, Holly's disappearance sparks panic, Phillip's brutal beating, and Doug's dark past returns to haunt Salem. A chilling wave of danger is sweeping across Salem, and by the time next week's episodes of Days of Our Lives unfold, the stakes will have risen higher than ever. Between the mysterious vanishing of a beloved young girl, the savage assault of a Kiriaki's heir, and the return of a dangerous criminal underworld, the week of May 12th to 16th promises to be one of the most intense stretches in recent DOOL memory. Let's begin with the disappearance that will shake everyone to the core. Holly is missing. A nightmare begins. Holly vanishes for months. Subtle signs have pointed to trouble brewing around Holly. Viewers have watched her interactions with Doug grow deeper, even romantic at times, despite his clearly dangerous connections. Earlier this year, Holly was already brushing up against trouble when she insulted the men who had been threatening Doug over unpaid debts. Her defiance, though admirable, painted a target on her back. At the time, it seemed like a dramatic detour. Now it's clear it was a setup for something far more sinister. Doug, who has been navigating a maze of threats from menacing loan sharks and violent criminals, tried his best to shield Holly from his dark entanglements. But his efforts may have come too late. In the May 6th episode, we saw Holly bask in joy upon learning about Doug's new job at Brady's pub and his rented room upstairs. It was a brief moment of light, a spark of young romance. But that spark ignited more than feelings. Unbeknownst to the couple, someone was lurking in the shadows, capturing photographs of their private moment. Not just of Holly, but of the mansion where Doug had been staying. That mansion, with all its grandeur and its ties to the Kiriaki's legacy, may have made Holly a valuable pawn in a much larger game. A calculated target, the kidnapping plot unfolds. Why was someone secretly taking pictures of Holly and Doug? Why now? The answer, it seems, may be buried in the past. A past full of dangerous debts and desperate criminals. The mansion in question has long been a symbol of wealth, power, and privilege in Salem. And when criminals smell money, they follow the trail. Doug, realizing that he was putting Holly in danger simply by being near her, made the choice to move out. But it might have been too little, too late. The criminals may have concluded that Doug himself is no longer a viable source of income. But Holly? A sweet, innocent girl, deeply tied to Salem's most prominent families? She could be the perfect pressure point. Let's not forget Maggie's recent public act of generosity. The ever-compassionate widow made headlines by placing a jaw-dropping $1 million bid on a charity bachelorette auction. Her wealth is no secret, and neither are her familial connections. With Holly being her niece, the writing may be on the wall. The criminals are going after someone they believe will bring a massive ransom. All signs point to a carefully orchestrated abduction, one that's already in motion. Philip's savage beating raises alarm. While one tragedy brews in the shadows, another erupts in broad daylight. Philip, another member of the Kiriaki's family, finds himself hospitalized after a brutal attack. The injuries are severe, and the news sends shockwaves through the community. At first, fingers may be pointed at Xander. After all, the tension between the two has been mounting. Revenge would not be out of the realm of possibility, not in Salem. But there may be a more complex reason behind the beating. Doug's financial troubles are deeper than anyone knows. The people threatening him aren't playing games, and if Doug couldn't pay, maybe they decided someone close to him would. Philip, who had recently been getting to know Doug better, may have become collateral damage in a violent warning. If this theory is true, the implications are terrifying. It would mean that the people behind the threats aren't just after Doug anymore, they're extending their reach to anyone in his orbit. No one is safe. Salem on edge, the aftermath with Holly missing and Philip lying battered in a hospital bed, the Kiriaki's family finds itself under siege. Emotionally, financially, and possibly even physically. For Maggie, who has already lost so much, the threat of losing Holly may be too much to bear. And for Xander, suspicion continues to cloud his every move. Is he the avenger, or just another player caught in someone else's twisted game? Meanwhile, Doug's worst fears are coming true. He tried to outrun his past, but it has finally caught up to him. And now, those around him are paying the price. Even more disturbingly, the people responsible for all of this may not be finished. If their plot to kidnap Holly is successful, who might be next? Could they strike at Maggie directly? Or perhaps Brady, who offered Doug the upstairs room in the first place? The week of May 12th to 16th will push everyone to their limits, emotionally and physically. Families will be tested. Trust will be shattered. And Doug, perhaps more than anyone, will be forced to reckon with the demons he's been running from. Will Salem fight back? As fear spreads and alliances begin to crack under pressure, one question hangs in the air: can Salem come together to fight back? The residents of this town have faced kidnappings, betrayals, and violence before, but this is different. This time, the attack is strategic, personal, and deeply calculated. This time, the criminals aren't just coming for money. They're coming for hearts, for families, for power. Will John and Marlena rally support for a rescue effort? Will Xander prove his innocence by tracking down the real attackers? Will Brady risk everything to save the girl Doug loves? And what about Doug himself? Will he rise from the shadows and finally bring these criminals to justice, or will he fall further into a pit of guilt and despair? One thing is certain: next week's episodes will change everything. Final Thoughts: Days of Our Lives continues to deliver edge-of-your-seat drama that grips viewers of all ages. But for longtime fans, those who remember the original Doug, who saw the Kiriakis dynasty rise, and who have followed Maggie's journey through loss and love, this storyline cuts especially deep. Don't miss a moment as Salem faces one of its darkest chapters yet. The week of May 12th to 16th will be unforgettable. And for some, it may be their last chance to make things right. A much-needed escape. Sarah and Xander's weekend of surprises, sepsis, and spa treatments in Salem, where drama brews with every sunrise and no one's life ever stays peaceful for too long. Sometimes even the most chaotic couples need a little escape. And that's exactly what Sarah is hoping for when she bursts through the door of her and Xander's home, full of excitement and anticipation. She has big news to share. She's got the entire weekend off, a rare blessing in her hectic life as a doctor, and she's already gone ahead and made plans to whisk them away for some much-needed R&R. But in true Salem fashion, things don't quite go the way she expected. Before she even has the chance to spill the beans about their surprise getaway, Xander greets her with a question that catches her completely off guard: what do you know about sepsis? For a split second, Sarah's eyebrows shoot up. It's not exactly the romantic reunion she had in mind, but she quickly shifts into doctor mode. Sepsis, she explains carefully, is what happens when the body's response to an infection spirals out of control. The immune system starts to attack the body's own tissues and organs. If not treated quickly, it can be deadly. Her voice is calm but serious, and it's clear she knows this territory well. She's likely seen it firsthand in the ER more times than she'd like to remember. But Xander's interest isn't just casual curiosity. He's been thinking, and he wants to run an idea by her: what if someone developed a new drug specifically targeted to fight sepsis more effectively? Sarah pauses. Her eyes search his face, and then she nods. That's actually a brilliant idea. Coming from a woman of science, that's not a compliment she throws around lightly. It's a moment of unexpected connection between them. Xander, often brushed off as a rogue or a brute, is genuinely interested in doing something good. And Sarah sees that. But she also sees something else: the exhaustion in her own bones, the wear and tear of long nights and relentless pressure. Which brings her back to the real reason she came home with such excitement. Changing gears, she shares the other surprise. She's booked a cabin, quiet, secluded, and complete with access to a spa. No phones. No patients. No stress. Just the two of them. And before you say anything, she adds quickly, this isn't some belated honeymoon. It's just a chance to get away and breathe. But the sparkle in her eyes dims when she sees the look on Xander's face. He hesitates. A spa weekend? Not exactly his idea of a good time. He starts to protest, mumbling something about mud baths and seaweed wrap sounding more like torture than relaxation. Not willing to give up that easily, Sarah grins, grabs a pair of cucumber slices, and gently places them over his eyes. See? This is what relaxation looks like, she says with a wink. Doesn't it feel amazing? Xander lets out a sarcastic groan. I feel like a tossed salad. But underneath the jokes, he can see how much this means to her. Sarah has been burning the candle at both ends, pouring everything into her patients, sacrificing sleep and peace for the sake of others. If this weekend is her way to recharge, then maybe it's not such a bad idea after all. He leans back, surrendering to the cucumbers and her persuasive charm. Fine, he mutters, but if anyone asks, I was drugged and dragged into a wellness retreat. Sarah laughs, a deep, relieved laugh that echoes through the room and feels like a breath of fresh air. They pack quickly, tossing clothes into a bag, grabbing snacks and travel mugs, and locking the front door behind them. As they drive out of Salem, the town fades into the background. For once, there are no criminals chasing them, no hospital emergencies pulling Sarah away, and no family dramas exploding at the last second. It's just them, the open road, and a promise of quiet. Of course, knowing Salem, peace rarely lasts. But for now? For this one weekend? Sarah and Xander are choosing to step away from it all. And whether Xander likes spa treatments or not, he's doing it for her. Because sometimes, love means cucumbers on your eyes and lavender oils in the air. And maybe, just maybe, that getaway cabin will hold more than just relaxation. It might hold laughter, healing, and a reminder of why they keep coming back to each other, no matter what the world throws their way.